you guys know that the first page is always easy on a foundation paper. They're easy, snappy, 1-mark questions. So I want you guys in the chat to answer this, okay? So the first question number 1, is to write 35% as a fraction. Just tell me in the chat. Yes, we can write as 35 over 100. Well done. Or you can simplify this to 7 over 20. Both of them will work. And question number 2, you need to work out a quarter of 28. A quarter of 28. So since we're using a calculator, I don't know how to do. If you do not know how to use this in the head, you can write in your calculator 1/4 times 28, or you can just do 28 divided by 4, which will give you a 7 as your answer. And question number 3, we need to write down 2 factors of 12. What are 2 factors of 12, guys? So I'll list down the factors. So the factors of 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. You can have any factors, 2 factors from this list. So I'll just say 3 and 4. I'll say 3 and 4. You can have any numbers from this list. You will still be correct. Cool. Question number 4. You need to simplify 2m times 3. Simplify 2m times 3. So with the simplify 2m times 3, that is going to be 6m. 6m. And then we have question number 5. We need to find the square root of 1.69. So for this question, you can use a calculator for this question, obviously. So what you're going to do is that you're going to do the square root of 1.69 on a calculator. You will get 1.3, and that will be your answer. Okay, that was a very easy first page for the foundation paper. So it always gives you momentum to continue the paper. Okay, yeah, it's light work. Now, let's move on to question number 6. So, on the grid, draw a quadrilateral with no lines of symmetry. A quadrilateral with no lines of symmetry, and then a rotational symmetry of order of 2. So in the chat, what do you think will be the shape? What will be the shape of our shape? It's a quadrilateral, and it has no lines of symmetry. No lines of symmetry, and has a rotational symmetry of order of 2. It's a quadrilateral. When a quadrilateral means when you have 4-sided shape. A quadrilateral is a 4-sided shape, okay? We know quadrilateral is a 4-sided shape. Okay, someone got it correct in the chat. It's a parallelogram. It's a parallelogram. So it will not be a square, because a square has a line of symmetries. A square has line of symmetries. So does a rectangle. It has line of symmetry. A parallelogram does not have any line of symmetry, but it has 2 rotational symmetry of order of 2. Okay, so it's going to be a parallelogram. You need to know its rules. So I'm just going to draw a parallelogram like this, and it should work. Okay. So that question was 2 marks. 2-mark question. So question number 7, the table shows the total number of apples sold and the total number of oranges sold in a shop in each of these 3 weeks. We have week 1, we have week 2, and week 3, and they have told us the number of apples and number of oranges sold in these 3 weeks. In total, for the 3 weeks, more apples than oranges were sold. How many more? How many more apples were sold than orange? So, for example, now we need to work out the total apples. So since you have a calculator, this is very, very easy with using a calculator. So you just need to do 86 plus 75 plus 92, which will give you 253. That is going to be the total of your apples. Now, once you've done that, you have to work out the total of your oranges for the 3 weeks. That is just going to be 68 plus 80 plus 76. And this will be 224. This is paper free, guys. Paper free calculator, foundation level. We're doing foundation tier today. So now once you have done that, it says in total for the 3 weeks, more apples than oranges were sold. How many more? So we have to work out the difference. So we're going to subtract the two totals together. So you have 253 minus 224, and that will give you 29. So 29 is going to be your final answer. 29 is going to be your final answer, guys. Worth 3 marks. So give a thumbs up in the chat if you're ready to move on to our next question. And guys, if you already haven't followed, please consider following as I do live every single day. You don't want to miss out. I do live every single day, higher and foundation. So, question number 8. So I do live 7 o'clock every day. 7 o'clock. Okay? So question number 8. Here we have the first 5 terms of a number sequence. 3, 8, 13, 18, and 23. Write down the next 2 terms of the sequence. We have to write down the next 2 terms of the sequence. So whenever we're working with sequences, you need to first of all work out the pattern. The pattern, okay? So we know that this sequence is we're adding 5 each time, okay? We are adding 5. That means we have to add 5 to 23. So we need 23 plus 5, you're going to get 28. So the next term is going to be 28, and then we're going to add another 5, and that will give us 33. So our next 2 terms are going to be 28 and 33. And now Jim says that 50 is a term in this sequence. Jim is wrong. Explain why. Why is Jim wrong, guys? Tell me in the chat. Why is Jim wrong? And remember, look at the sequence very carefully. It's very, very simple explanation. If you look at it very, very carefully. So I'm going to give you a clue. Look at this. Yes. So every term in the sequence, ends in a 3, ends in 3 or 8. So it can't be 50 because 50 ends in a 0 and there's no 0 in this term. So that was easy, 2 marks, done. Cool. Now question number 9. The diagram shows a solid triangular prism. A solid triangular prism. Write down the number of faces of the prism. Number of faces in the chat. Easy question, 1 mark. 1 mark question in the chat. Yes, 5 faces. So I hope you guys will know what faces is. It just means their face, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's easy. Number of edges. What are the number of edges now? So there is a difference. Now I can see a lot of people saying 6. There are 5 faces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there are 5 faces as you can see. Now there are not 6 edges, guys. There are not 6 edges. there is a difference between vertices and edges. Vertices and edges. Vertices when 2 points connect to each other. So in this question, there are 6 vertices. There are 6 vertices, okay? But we are trying to work out the edges. So the edges are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 edges in this triangular prism, okay? 9 is going to be answer. You need to know the difference between faces, edges, and vertices. Otherwise, you can't answer these easy 1-mark questions, okay? Give a thumbs up in the chat. You're ready to move on to the next question. And if you have any questions, please ask me. Okay. Good. So, we have question number 10. We have a list of 8 numbers. 2, 2, 3, 5, 6, 6, 8, and 9. Kim picks at random one of these numbers. He picks one of these numbers, and on the probability scale below, mark with a cross the probability that Kim picks a number 7. What is the probability of Kim picking a number 7? So as you can see, we have 0 7s in this whole list. We have no 7s, meaning that the probability is going to be just a 0 because there are no 7s in the list. That was a trick question. It's going to be a 0. And then part B, on the probability scale below, mark with a cross the probability Kim picks a number greater than 5. As you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers which are greater than 5. So it's going to be 4 out of the total numbers. Total numbers are 8. 4 out of 8 is the probability. As you can see, we can simplify 4 over 8. 4 over 8 simplified is a half. So that is going to be our probability, a half. And part C of this question, we define the probability that Kim picks an even number. Kim picks an even number. So we know that the total is 8. Total number are 8 numbers. Now we're going to count how many numbers are even numbers in the list. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 even numbers in our list. So our probability is going to be 5 over 8. Okay? 5 over 8. Easy peasy. So let's move on to question number 11 then. So Sanita wants to make 35 picture frames. She wants to make 35 picture frames. She needs 4 nails for each frame. 4 nails for each frame. Sanita has 3 boxes of nails. There are 48 nails in each box. Has Sanita got enough nails to make all 35 frames? Show how you got your answer. So first thing you need to do is we need to work out how many nails she has altogether. So it's a calculator paper. So by using this information, we're going to need 3 times 48. In the calculator, do 3 times 48. You get 144 nails altogether. 144 nails altogether. And now, to make 35 picture frames, and one nail and one frame requires 4 nails. You have to do 35 times 4 to work out how many nails you need. 35 times 4 is 140. Use a calculator. That is the nails needed. The nails needed. Yes, I will publish this live on YouTube, guys. And once you've done that, you can see we have 140 and 144. So has Sanita got enough? Has Sanita got enough, guys? Why am I timesing 35 by 4? So I know So I know that I know how many Sunita needs to make the 35 frames. Sunita needs 140 nails. Sunita needs 140 nails to make those 35 frames. So she has enough. Yes, she has enough. So we can just write 144 is greater than 140. So I will publish this on YouTube after this live, okay? Yeah, she has 4 spares, but you don't need to know that. Okay. So we need to write 60 meters as a fraction of 1000 meters. Give your answer in its simplest form. We need to give its answer in its simplest form. So we know that our fraction is going to be 60, which is going to be our numerator. 60 over 1000 meters, which is going to be our denominator. 60 over 1000. Now the trick for this is that since this is a calculator paper, what you need to do is that you just put this into your calculator. You put this into your calculator, press the equal sign, and it will literally simplify it for you. So it's going to be 3 out of 50, or you can just divide it by 20 to get the simplified form, which is 3 out of 50. So that was easy. So are these questions similar to the exam questions? So this is a past paper, so these are past exam questions. So if you're thinking about mocks, these questions actually come up in your mocks, but you do not know. It depends on your school which one they do. So these questions might come on your mocks. You never know. Okay? Let's move on to question number 13. This is Edexcel, guys. Edexcel. So the accurately drawn map shows the positions of 3 points, A, B, and C, in the field. Parveen walks in a straight line from A to B. She walks from a straight line from A to B. She then walks in a straight line from B to C. Susan walks in a straight line from A to C, and then Parveen walks more meters than Susan. How many more? How many more does she walk? So we know that this is to scale. This is to scale, so you have to use a ruler to work this out. So first of all, you will draw a straight line from A to B like this. As you can see, that is not a straight line, but you know what I mean. You have to draw a straight line using a ruler and a pencil from A to B. Now, once you know that, we're gonna have to measure with a ruler. In the chat, tell me if you know how to use a ruler. I'm just asking, do you guys know how to use a ruler? And how to like measure stuff on a ruler? Okay. If your answer is a no, then that's a bit concerning. Okay. So from A to B, you're gonna measure this with a ruler from A to B, and you will get 5 centimeters. From A to B, you measure 5 centimeters with a ruler. Now, if this is 5 centimeters with a ruler, we know that 1 centimeter is 150 meters. And then we're going to do 5 times 150 meters to work this out in our meters, but it's going to be 750 meters. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to do, so then we need to work out from B to C, because then she walks in a straight line from B to C. So we're quickly like draw from B to C like that. So from B to C, you measure with the ruler again, you will get 4 centimeters. B to C is going to be 4 centimeters. Then you're going to do 4 times 150. You will get 600 meters. And then lastly, you're going to do A to C. do A to C, which will give you 7 centimeters when you measure it with the ruler. And then you do 7 times 150 centimeters, which will give you 1050 meters. Now, once we got that, we worked out like the distance in real life. Now, we need to work out, first of all, how much Perveen walks. So, Perveen walks from A to B, from B to C. So, we have to do A to B, which is 750. So, Perveen walks 750 meters, and then she walked another 600 meters, which will give you 1,350 meters, right? And then Susan, on the other hand, just walks from A to C, and she just walks 1,050 meters instead. Now it says how many more do they walk? So lastly, what we need to do, our last step of this question, is you have to find the difference, okay? So we have to do 1,350 meters. That is the total distance Perveen walks minus 1,050 meters, which will then give you 300 meters. So that is going to be your answer, 300 meters. So well done, Amelia, for getting that correct. So now, for part B, find by measurement the bearing of A from C. The bearing of A from C. So first of all, you guys should know that when it says measure, what tool are we going to be using? What are we going to be using? Are we going to be using a ruler? Are we going to be using a compass? What are we going to be using to work out the angle? Yes, we're going to be using a protractor. You can't use a ruler, guys, to measure an angle. You can't use a ruler to measure an angle. That was just a trick question. So it's a protractor, guys. So in the chat, tell me if you know how to use a protractor. Tell me if you know how to use a protractor. So, if you don't know how to use a protractor, then you need to know how to use it and learn it. So what we're going to do, you have to work out the bearing of A from C. So this is our C. We know that the bearings are always from the north and they always go clockwise. So we have to measure the bearing from here, go like this, measure the angle like this. The bearing is going to be this specific angle right here. This is going to be the bearing from here to here, C to A, okay? And to work out the bearing, what we're going to do is first of all, work out this angle right here. Now, if you use a protractor to work this out, you know that this will be 72 degrees. This will be equal to 72 degrees. And now in the chat, tell me what is the sum of the angles around a point. Angles around a point add up to what? This is paper 3, guys. So angles around a point add up to 360 degrees, correct? So what we're going to do, we're going to do 360 minus our 72 degrees to work out our bearing of 288 degrees. That is our bearing. So well done if you get that correct, if you got that correct. Yes, I post my lives on YouTube. So if you came a bit late, you can rewatch it. Okay? So you can subscribe there as well. Sadly, I still have like 37 subscribers. Yes, I've done paper to calculate the foundation. I think so. I don't think I posted it, so I'll double check. So give a thumbs up in the chat. Give a thumbs up in the chat if you're ready to move on to our next question. So I'll post this live on YouTube, guys. I'll post it on YouTube for you guys. So question number 14. Here is a shoe size for each of 12 boys in a class. So find the median. We need to find the median. As you can see, they've been so nice to you that they've literally ordered it for you. We know that there are 12 boys, meaning that the median will be 6.5. The middle is going to be 6.5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the middle is this right here. The middle is right here, in the middle of 7 and 7. So what is going to be our median, guys? What's going to be our median? It's going to be 7. Can I post paper to calculator? So if I do paper to calculator, I'll post it, okay? Now we need to work out the range. We need to work out the range. In the chat, please remind me what the range is. What is the range? The range is the biggest minus the smallest amount, okay? Biggest minus smallest. So what we're going to do, the biggest value is our 9. Smallest is our 4. So we're going to do 9 minus 4 to give us a value of 5. So that is going to be our range. And now, next question is that for the shoe size of each 12 girls in the class, now we're looking at the girls. The median size is 6 and the range is 3. Compare the distribution of the shoe sizes of the boys with the distribution of the shoe sizes of the girls. So when it says compare, we need to compare like the median and then compare the range as well. So it's like it's like an evaluation question or a comparing question. So you just say like the median is greater for the boys than the girls or something like that, okay? So I'll tell you what you need to write. It's a 2-mark question. You do not need to write a whole essay, okay? It's a 2-mark question. Don't write like 5 paragraphs for this question, okay? So what you need to do is first thing you write is the median shoe size. The median shoe size of the boys is greater. The boys is greater than the girls. That's the first point you will write. That's gonna give you 1 mark. And then the second point you will write is the range of the boys. The range of the boys' shoes are bigger. The range is bigger for the boys' shoes. So that will give you a full 2 marks. So it will give you 1 mark over here and then 1 mark over here, and then you get your full 2 marks. So the median is like the middle value, the middle number. So you just order it from smallest to biggest, and then you find the middle number, and then we know that the range is the biggest value subtracted by the smallest value, which will give you your answer. Okay? So let's look at this, our next question over here. We need to work out this. How do we do this, guys? How do we do this? How do we do this question? You know how we do this question? You just put it in your calculator. Put this whole thing in your calculator, and then you're just going to get an answer of 5. Literally. It's that simple. You guys, most of you guys just forget it's a calculator paper, and you do like lots of column method and lots of methods. It's a 2-mark question. You need to use a calculator. Okay. You just use the calculator. It's 2 marks. You use the calculator. You don't need to show you're working. what I would do is that I would just do this separately and give your answer over this, and then you just do it. I don't think you should give your working out. It's a calculator paper for a reason. You shouldn't give your working out. So let's move on to question number 16. So guys, we are actually halfway through the paper. This paper has 30 questions in total, so we have halfway done the paper. So we're gonna get to the hard question now. And if you already haven't followed, follow then, because I do live every single day. I see it's like a million times during my live. I can't lie. That's like my catchphrase now. Catchphrase. That's a good catchphrase, right? So, anyways, so we have a centimeter grid. I have drawn an isosceles triangle with an area of 12 centimeters squared. 12 centimeters squared. We have to draw an isosceles triangle. So to draw this isosceles triangle, what you need to do is, first of all, you need to work out what its base is and what its perpendicular height. You need to work on these two things to work it out. We know that a formula to work out the area of a triangle is half times base times height. That is our formula. So what is going to be? So what we're going to do, we know that if we times our base and our height, our answer needs to be 24. Basically, if you do 24 divided by 2, you're going to get 12. So if you do base times height, it has to give you 24. And then when you divide by 2, it will give you 12. So the two variations of this answer is 12 times 2, which I'll do 6 times 4 will be a good one. So I think I'll do 6 times 4. You can either do 6 by 4, or you can do 8 by 3, or 12 by 2. But I think 6 and 4 will look like better. Like, it will look better because like it's evenly distributed. Because if you do like 12 and 2, your triangle will be like this. That'll be your triangle. You get what I mean, right? So you want it to be like even, like a more like square shape thingy. So 6 and 4, I'll do 6 and 4. So our base is going to be 6. So do it like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. And then we know that a perpendicular height is going to be a 4. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is going to be our top there. And then we're going to connect them. I can never draw straight lines. And then like that. And that should be your triangle then. That should be your triangle. Okay? So this question just requires you to work out this base and the height, and then just draw it. You can do either 3 of them. It will give you the correct answer. You just have to give an answer of. It needs to give you the area of 12 centimeters. Okay. As you can see, these two angles are obviously equal. They are both equal. Yeah, foundation does have Pythagoras. It does have Pythagoras normally, but it normally comes on the non-calculator paper. So, question number 17. You need to expand 3 and then brackets 4 minus 2x. 3 and then brackets 4 minus 2x. How do we do this? Very, very, very simple. What do we do is that we're just going to do 3, the outside number, and then multiply it by the 4. 3 times 4 will give you a 12. 3 multiplied by 4 will give you a 12. Then minus 6x. Minus 6x. And that will be your answer. And then we need to solve 3y then over 4 is equal to 12. 3y over 4 is equal to 12. So how do we do this? So we have 3y over 4 is equal to 12. So we need to work out the value of our y. So first thing you do is you multiply by 4 on both sides, which will give you 3y is equal to 48. So then what is the value of y then? What is the value of y? So the value of y is 16. Well done. Value of y is 16. Cool. Why do I times by 4? It's because we want to get rid of our denominator here, which is a 4. So if you multiply by 4, the denominator cancels out. That's why you multiply by 4 on both sides, okay? So to get 16, you would divide by 3 after that. So when you have 3y is equal to 48, you would divide by 3 on both sides, which give you y is equal to 16, okay? If the denominator was 6, would you times it by 6? Yes, you will, okay? So boredom, the next question is correct. What you did. So the next question, you have to find a highest common factor. So the highest common factor you can get out is 2. And then it's going to be 2p plus 3. Because if we do 4p divided by 2, will give you 2p. 6 divided by 2 is going to be 3. That is going to be your answer. This is basic algebra. How is it 48? It's because when you want to get rid of our 4, when you want to get rid of our denominator 4, you multiply both sides of the equation. You need 12 times 4. 12 times 4 is 48, right? 12 times 4 is 48, right? That is how we get 48. So, what country is this? I feel like majority of us is probably from the UK. Anyways, let's move on to our next question. Question number 18. We need to write 2,530 correct to 2 significant figures. I want you to do this in the chat. Tell me in the chat. One, guys, 2,500. That was an easy question. And the next one, doing the next one as well, guys, is 0.0874 correct to 1 significant figure. 0.0874 to 1 significant figure. So what you would do is that you would look at your first significant figure. Your first significant figure is this 8 right here. The 8 is your first significant figure. We need to round it. You're going to look at its neighbor. Its neighbor is 7. So you round the first significant figure up, which will give you 0.09, which is your answer. Okay? 0.09 is your answer. So now we have 400 counters in a box. The counters are red or yellow or green. There are 3 different counters in a bag. 3/8 of the counters are red. 3/8 of the counters are red. And 82 of the counters are yellow. What percentage of the counters are green? So the first thing we have to do is work out how many counters are red. The red counters, we're going to do 3/8 times 400. So you can do this in the calculator, work out 3/8 of 400, or you can do this mentally. So if you do this in your calculator, you will get 150 counters. 150 counters are red. 150 counters are red. So we know that 82 counters are yellow and 150 counters are red. So we're gonna do 150. We're gonna do 400. Sorry, we'll do 400 minus 150, then minus 82 as well to get to 168. Now 168 is our total of our green counters. Green counters. Total of our green counters, okay? Now we found out our total of our green counters, we need to work out the percentage. So we know that there are 400 counts in total, so our denominator is going to be 400. It's going to be 168 over 400. And we need to put this as a percentage. So the first thing you would do is that you would convert this to a decimal. So to convert this in a decimal, you would use a calculator. So you type this in. You type in 168 over 400, and you would press this SD button. That means you're converting from a fraction to a decimal. The SD button that will give you 0.42. Now in the chat, tell me what is 0.42 as a percentage. What is 0.42 as a percentage? I want everyone to contribute. This is a calculator paper, guys. It's paper free. So it's 42%. 42% is your answer. Well done, guys. 42%. Well, I'm doing paper 3, so I did paper 1 foundation, I did paper 2 foundation as well. So today I'm doing paper 3 foundation. Because of the mocks as well, it's because of the mocks as well, because in the mocks, you just don't do paper 1. You do all types of papers. So I want to do more. For high, I'm just doing paper 1 right now, because why not? Okay? And guys, I want to tell you some shocking statistics, okay? I looked at my analytics here, and then it said 43% of you that are chatting to me right now in the chat are not followed to me. 43%. That's a big percentage. If you look at that, that's 42%. One more percentage of you guys are not followed. That are chatting. That's just crazy. Okay. So, anyways, question number 20. In the diagram, PQR, where's P at? PQR is an isosceles triangle where PQ and PR are equal in length. Okay, equal in length. As you can see, it's an isosceles triangle. These two sides are equal. APR and CQD are parallel lines. As you can see, is labeled with these. These two are parallel lines. Okay. Angle ABP is 56 degrees. Is labeled right there. Work out the size of angle CQR. CQR is this angle right here. This angle right here. CQR, this angle right here. Okay. So to work out this angle is very, very, very simple. The first thing we know is this. You can easily work out this angle right here. What is this angle right here, guys? So angle, we're gonna write angle QPR. Angle QPR is equal to 56 degrees because vertically opposite angles are equal. So that's going to be 56 degrees. So then we know that we can work out these two angles right here. You know these two angles right here? These two angles are equal. Okay, these two angles are equal. So we're going to do 180 180 minus 56 and divide this by 2 to work out both of these angles, and that will be 62 degrees. So angles at them, our rule is going to be angles at the base of an isosceles triangle is equal. So these two angles right here are 62 degrees. Okay? Now once we have worked that out, we know that we can work out this specific angle right here. So in the chat, tell me what is this specific angle right here. And look, remember your parallel line rules. Is one of those parallel lines rules. So what is the angle of CQP? This angle right here, CQP. CQP is 56 degrees. Well done. Because they are corresponding. Now lastly, once we have done that, we need to work out the angle, the size of angle CQR. CQR is 56 degrees and angle is 62 degrees. So lastly, what you would do is that you just do, and the angle CQR is equal to 56 plus 62, which will give you 118 degrees as your answer. Can explain corresponding alternates and the other one. So, for example, so we have two parallel lines over here. We have two parallel lines over here, and a line intersects like this. It's a random line that intersects like this. For example, we have this angle right here. These two angles are corresponding to each other. These two angles are corresponding to each other, okay? You get that one? So this is corresponding. Cool. Now, once you got that, these are two corresponding to each other. So now, then we know that if we have this angle over here, and we have another angle right here, these two orange angles are alternate. They're alternate, okay? They're equal, but they're like opposite each other, okay? And then lastly, we have a co-interior angle. Co-interior angles are angles like this. So they are in the same box. So co-interior angles, so if these two angles are right here, these two angles like this, these two angles right here will add up to 180 degrees. These are co-interior angles, okay? So I hope that helps. So let's move on to question number 21. This is foundation, guys. Paper-free calculator. So we need to work out the lowest common multiple, LCM, of 24 and 56. So what we're going to do is that we have to break down 24 as its prime factors. Breaking down 24. So the two numbers that break down to 24 is 2 and 12, first of all. 2 is a prime number, so we can circle it. Then we can break this down further to 2 and 6. Circle that, and then we have 2 and 3. Circle these two. These are our prime factors done. We're going to do the same thing for 56. Two numbers is 2 and 28. Circle this number. Then we have 2 and 14. Circle this number. And then 2 and 7. Circle these two numbers. Okay. Now once you've done that, we're going to use our Venn diagram method. So you're going to draw your two lovely circles like this. label this first one 24, this one 56, and then we're gonna write down in the middle the numbers which are common. As you can see, we in each pair we have a 2 and a 2 common. So let's cross these out. 2 and a 2 common. So you write 2 there. And then we have another 2 and a 2 common. 2 there. And we have a 2 and a 2 common over here. So we have 3 2s in the middle. And then nothing else is common. So then we have 3 and 7 over here. Then to work out the LCM, you multiply everything in your Venn diagram, which will give you 168, and that is your lowest common multiple. So is there an easier method to do this? This is the only method you can find the lowest common multiple for big numbers. You have to use the prime factor, the prime factors, and use the Venn diagram to work it out. Okay. So now we have a right angle triangle. We need to work out the value of our x. Work out the value of our x. So you guys were remembering Pythagoras theorem. So here we have Pythagoras theorem. So the Pythagoras theorem is the easiest formula you could ever remember. It's a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. It's a squared plus b squared equal to c squared. So we need to work out basically our b value. So we have 4 squared plus x squared is equal to 8.5 squared, right? Because this is a, b, and our c value. So what we're going to do is that we're going to square this using a calculator. So it means that 4 squared is 16 plus x squared, then 8.5 squared is 72.25. Now once we have done that, you would subtract 16 for both sides, which will get you x squared is equal to 56.25. And then lastly, you have to do the square root. So x is equal to the square root of 56.25, which will give you 7.5 as your final answer. 7.5. So if we are finding the HCF, the highest score factor, is it only going to be 2 times 2 times 2 or 3 times 7? So if it's the lowest common multiple, you multiply all the numbers, right? So if it's the highest common factor you're working out, you only multiply the numbers in the middle, okay? Highest common factor, you only multiply the numbers in the middle. So C is always the longest side, okay? Longest side is C, and A and B, it does not matter which way you which way you label it. A and B are always you can label it either way. It doesn't matter. You get your same answer of 7.5. Okay. So guys, let's move on to our next question. So we have t is equal to 4m squared minus 11. Work out the value of t when m is equal to negative 3. So we are going to use our substitution method to substitute the value of negative 3 into our equation. So we have 4, and then we have the value of m, which is negative 3 squared minus 11. Negative 3 squared minus 11. So first thing we'll do is that what you just need to do is you need to put this into your calculator. That is what you need to do. Put this into your calculator. When you put this in calculator, you get an easy answer of 25. That's it. Done. Literally, it's that simple. Done. And lastly, make P the subject of the formula. We have D is equal to 3P plus 4. D is equal to 3P plus 4. So first thing you want to do is going to minus 4 from both sides because you want to make P on its own. Minus 4 on both sides, which will give you D minus 4 is equal to 3P. And lastly, you just need to divide it by 3 on both sides, which will give you D minus 4 divided by 3 is equal to P. So P is equal to D minus 4 over 3. Okay? So well done, guys, for getting that correct. How to get 25? So you know there's going to be this equation. You put this into your calculator, and then you get an answer 25, okay? It's a calculator paper, so you need to use a calculator. Do not waste your time on doing lots of hard work, doing it in your head. Just use a calculator, that's it, done. So let's move on to question number 24. So we have Nick, Selma, and Tony. Nick, Selma, and Tony are playing a game with counters. Rick has some counters. Selma has twice as many counters as Rick. Tony has 6 less counters than Selma. In total, there are 54 counters. The number of counters Rick has to the number of counters Tony has is 1 to P. Work out the value of P. So what you need to do is we're going to label that Rick has counters of R. Label it as R. And we know that Selma has twice as many counters as Rick. So we know that Selma has 2R. And then Tony has 6 less counters than Selma. It's going to be 2R minus 6. Okay? So now we have done that. I'm going to put this into one equation to work out the value of R. So we have R plus 2R plus 2R minus 6 is equal to a grand total of 54. And then you would simplify this to 5R minus 6 equal to 54. That would be 5R is equal to 60, which means that R is equal to 12. So we work out the value of our R. Now what we need to do, we need to work out the number of counters Rick has to the number of counters Tony has. So we know that Rick has 12 counters. And then we know that Selma has twice as much as Rick. So Selma would have 24, because that's twice as much as Rick. And then lastly, we have Tony, which will have 6 less counters than Selma, which will be 18 counters, okay? Yes, I used R for Rick. R. So now once you've done that, the number of counters Rick has to the ratio of number of counters Tony has 1 to P. So the ratio is 1 to P for Tony, for Rick to Tony. So means that Rick has 12 counters, right? And Tony has 18. It's 12 to 18. So we need to divide by 12 to get to 1. So let's divide this by 12 as well. So you just do 18 divided by 12. Put it into your calculator. You'll get 1.5 as your answer. And that will be your answer of P, okay? So you are lost. So let me quickly go through it again. So we know that Rick has some counters. So we label each counters as like algebraic expressions. So Rick has R counters. Selma has 2R because it has twice as much as Rick. And then we know Tony has 6 less counters than Selma. It's going to be 2R minus 6. We know the total is 54. Total is 54, so we know that R plus 2R minus 6 is equal to 54. Now we simplify this equation to 5R minus 6. And then we add 6 on both sides to get 5R is equal to 16. And then we know that R is equal to 12. So now when we know the value of R, we worked out how much counters Rick has, how many counters Selma has, and how many counters Tony has. And now once we have done that, what we're going to do, we put it as a ratio from Rick to Tony is 12 to 18. The ratio is 1 to P. We divide by 12 on both sides. And 18 gets 1.5, okay? 1.5. So this topic is algebraic ratios, I guess. Algebraic ratios. So, why the 2R is because Selma has twice as many counters as Rick. Rick has R counters. So Selma will have twice the amount of Rick, so it's going to be 2R instead, okay? So let's move on to our next question, please. It is calculator paper, guys. The ratio bit over here, we know that the ratio is 12 to 18 from Rick to Tony, the number of cans it has. We wanted to make it 1 to P, right? So we divide by 12 to get to 1 to P, right? So whenever we do one thing to one side of the ratio, we do the same thing to the other side of the ratio. So you do 18 divided by 12, you get 1.5. So P is 1.5, okay? How did I get 60? Is because I added 6 on both sides to get 5R is equal to 60, okay? Cool. This topic might actually appeal on the non-calculator paper because this doesn't actually require a calculator apart from this last part. So this actually might come on the non-calculator paper. Question number 25 is Joe is going to buy 15 rolls of wallpaper. So here is some information about the cost of rolls of wallpaper from each of the two shops. So Trick Decor has 3 rolls for £36, and the Style Papers has a pack of 5 rolls, normal price £70, and it has a 12% of the normal price. So Joe wants to buy 15 rolls of wallpaper as cheaply as possible. You must show all your work and how you got your answer. So should Joe buy the wallpaper from Trick Decor or the wallpaper from Style Papers? So first of all, let's work out how much it cost to buy the wallpaper from Trick Decor. So we know that we will do 3 rolls, 3 rolls for £36. So he needs 15 rolls. So if he needs 15 rolls, you multiply by 5. So you multiply this by 5 as well. It means 36 times 5. 36 times 5 is 180. So Trick Decor is giving him in the price of £180. So let's work out the price of Style Papers. So we know that it's going to be 12% off. 12% off. So what you can do, if it's 12% of the normal price, we will do 0.88 times 70, because that's our multiply for a decrease. That will give you £61.60. £61.60. Okay? So once it goes £61.60, we know that 5 rows, where did I get 0.88 from? That is our multiplier, guys. So whenever we're decreasing amount, so we just did 0.12, because if you convert a percentage into a decimal, that would be 0.12. 12% as a decimal, 0.12. We are decreasing it, so we do 1 minus 0.12 to get 0.88 as our multiplier, okay? So when you do 0.88 times 70, you get £61.60. And then lastly, we know that 5 rows is equal to £61.60, meaning that we need to buy 15 rolls. You have to times by 3 on both sides to get 15 rolls for £184.80, meaning that which one is cheaper? The cheapest one is Trick Decor. So that will be your answer. So basically, I just did 12% of 70, like in like an easier way. So you can just do like 12% of 70 and then subtract it. You can do either method, but I just did it in one line because this is a calculator paper. You can use like shorter method tips and like tricks to work it out. Yes, you can put it in your calculator too. So to give a thumbs up in the chat if you're ready to move on to the next question and you understand this. you multiply by 3, so it's good. So let's move on to our next question. The table gives information about the lengths in centimeters of some pieces of strings. So we have a frequency diagram here. We have a frequency polygon as well and a frequency table. Well, write down the 2 mistakes that Amos has made. I want you to tell me the 2 mistakes. When you spot them, please tell me. The first mistake he makes is that there is no plot on the 40, okay? There's supposed to be a plot over here on the 40 right here. There's no plot, okay? So first of all, 40 is missing from the vertical scale. So that's done. And lastly, it was supposed to be 45. It was supposed to be this line where they were supposed to mark it. It was supposed to be right here, over here. Because whenever we're doing it, you always do the midpoint instead of the end number. Because it's not a histogram. So the last point should be 45 and then a 5. That's how you get it, okay? As you can see, there's no 40 here, so it doesn't go in equal increments. So 40 is missing over here. So that's how we know. Okay? So that we know that 40 is missing, okay? So, are we good to move on to our next question? Are we good to move on to the next question? Okay. Question number 27. So Jessica runs for 15 minutes at an average speed of 6 miles per hour. She then runs 40 minutes at an average speed of 9 miles per hour. It takes Amy 45 minutes to run the same total distance that Jessica runs. Work out Amy's average speed. Work out Amy's average speed. So how do we do this? Firstly, you would do is to work out Jessica's speed, Jessica's total distance that she traveled. Jessica's distance that she traveled. So Jessica's distance that she traveled, we need to work it out. So we know that speed is equal distance divided by time. That is the formula you need to know. So we know the first part, it was 15. So it was time. That is the time in hours. 15 over 60 times by its speed to work out its distance. The speed is 6 miles per hour, and then the time is 15 over 60. You will get 1.5 miles traveled at the first part, and the second part of our journey, 40 over 60 times by 9 miles, you will get 6 miles distance traveled, okay? Now, 9 miles per hour is the speed, this is the time, and that is our distance. Why can't I do 15 over 6? Is because this is in minutes. 15 is in minutes. You want it to be in hours. So 15 over 60 is 15 over 60 hours. You put in a fraction of 60 because then you know it's in terms of hours, okay? Because you try to give your answer in miles per hour. Just every time note that. So now the total distance Jessica travels is 1.5 plus 6 is 7.5 miles, okay? 7.5 miles. How did I get 60? 60 is the number of minutes in an hour, right? 60 is the number of minutes in an hour. We did it 15 minutes over 60 minutes to get it in terms of hours, okay? This is a calculator paper. You do not want to make it and convert it into hours in like decimals. Just do it like this. Leave it like this because the calculator will do all the work, okay? So you work out the total distance that Jessica travels. Now we need to work out what Amy's speed is. Amy's speed. So to work out the speed, we know that speed is equal to distance divided by time. The distance that she traveled is 7.5. 7.5 is the distance that she traveled, and the time taken was 45. And remember, it's 45 over 60, okay? When you do 7.5 divided 45 over 60, you get an answer of 10 miles an hour. So that is going to be your final answer. 10 miles per hour is your answer. Okay, guys? That was a 4-mile question. So, question number 28. So we're nearly done. We only have like a few more questions left. The diagram shows a rectangle STUV. So TQU and CRV are straight lines. They are straight lines. All measurements are in centimeters. The area of the trapezium QUVR, this over here, is 8 centimeters. Show that A is equal to 2x squared plus 20x. So, we know that that trapezium, this is our trapezium, the shaded region is our trapezium. So we're going to split up our trapezium into parts. So we know that this over here is going to be our x, because this is 3x, that means this is going to be our x, okay? And then we know that this is going to be 5, and this over here is going to be 4x. So we're going to work out the area, or in terms of this triangle first, work out the area of the triangle, add it with the area of this square, or this rectangle. Okay, so the area of this triangle is 4x times by x. 4x, the base times height, divided by 2. So should I zoom? So the question is cut. So let me go quickly. That should be better, guys. So once we've got that, that is going to give us the area of our triangle. That is the expression to give us the area of a triangle. And to work out the area of our rectangle is simple. Like length times width. Just add it to the length times width. It's going to be 5 times 4x. Now once we've done that, we're going to simplify this. So 4x times x is going to give us 4x squared over 2 plus 20x. And then lastly, you would divide by 2 with the fraction over here, divided by 2, get 2x squared plus 20x. And look at that. That is the same as our original answer that you're supposed to get. So that is actually a very, very easy question to come up as one of the last question. It's 3 marks. Easy 3 marks. So let's move on, guys, to our last page of our paper. The last 2 questions, guys. So these are like very, very easy last 2 questions you could ever get in your exam. I don't know why they made it so easy. And since you made it so far, please consider following. You made it to the end. So yeah, that's a big deal. So we have to change 30 meters per second to kilometers per hour. So we have 30 meters per second. We have to convert it to kilometers per hour. So, first of all, we need to work it out in hours. To work it in hours, we know that in an hour, if we do 60 times 60, we have 3,600 seconds in an hour. 3,600 seconds in an hour. So what we're going to do 30 times 3,600 seconds in the hour, which will give you 10,800 meters per hour. And then once you've done that, we will convert this meters into your kilometers. So you divide by 1,000, 1,800. And 10,800 divided by 1,000, which will give you 108. So 108 kilometers per hour is going to be your answer. Okay? So, why did I do 60 times 60? Because I'm trying to work out how many seconds there are in an hour because I want to convert it into hours, okay? How many seconds? These are 3,600. This is how many seconds there are in an hour, okay? So basically we convert each unit, so the seconds and the meters, converting them into hours and kilometers, okay? That's how you would do it. And lastly, question number 30. Last question. The value of Michelle's car has decreased by 15%. The car has a value of 13,600. Work out the value of Michelle's car before the decrease. First of all, we need to write this as a multiplier. Yes, Samuel, this is a calculator paper, Samuel. So this as a multiplier, 0.85 as a multiplier if we are decreasing, okay? Multiplier if we are decreasing. So it's going to be x times 0.85, which is equal to 13,600. That is the multiplier if we're decreasing, okay? So you would do 1 minus 0.15, you will get 0.85. 0.85 is the decrease. When it decreases, a multiplier of decreasing, okay? So basically, you would do 100 minus 15, and then you divide that by 100 to get 0.85. That is our multiplier. We are not increasing it, guys. We are decreasing it, so you subtract. No, you're not. You don't add. And then lastly, you would do divide by 0.85 on both sides. Yes, this is calculator paper, guys, which will give you 16,000. So 16,000 is your answer. Okay? 60,000 is your answer, guys. That was an amazing paper to do, guys. That was the easiest paper I've ever done, actually. The last questions are literally, they were so easy. So that last question, you have to convert this to 50%. You write it as a multiplier, as a percentage multiplier. You're decreasing this to 0.85. And then you write this as an equation. X times 0.85 is equal to 13,600. And then you need to find the value of x. So you divide by 0.85 on both sides, which would then get you 16,000 on both sides. Okay?